Olá, pessoal, bem-vindos. Eu sou a Vitória, do EducationUSA PUC Rio. Hoje a gente vai fazer mais uma sessão informativa com 4 universidades americanas. Para vocês acompanharem nossa agenda de eventos, vocês podem ir no www.educationusa.org.br. Hoje a gente vai ter a Columbia College Chicago, Connecticut College, Gettysburg College and University of New Haven. Elas vão apresentar em inglês e ao final vocês vão poder fazer perguntas. Okay, guys, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am joined with 3 of my wonderful colleagues. Before we jump into finding the right fit institution, we're going to quickly introduce ourselves. So, Vicki, if you want to go on to the next slide.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. I am an international admissions officer for Columbia College Chicago. My territory includes basically the entire Western Hemisphere. I represent a liberal arts college, but it's mainly focused in the creative arts. So we have over 7,000 students. That's about a mid-sized college, a medium-sized college, and most of those students are undergraduate students. We have over 60 degree programs in media and digital arts, visual arts, performing arts, music and sound, communication and writing, and also business and management, but it is business of the arts. So think like music business, design management. Over a third of our students identify as part of the LGBTQIA community, myself included, and many staff as well. We are an extremely accepting and safe space for you to present however you are and identify with whatever you identify with safely and openly here. And we also have a very diverse campus in terms of the amount of countries that we have here, the variety of students that we have that are all on our campus. There's over 60 countries represented and about 400 international students across the college. We are a test optional school, so you do not have to submit an SAT or an ACT test. We do need to see some proof of English, and those can be tests that you can do, but we also accept things like Duolingo, which is pretty, if you're familiar, it is really open to anyone, wherever you are. It's all online and it's much cheaper. So that's kind of a little bit about Columbia. Oh, I didn't tell you where we're located. We're located in Chicago, Illinois. I'm so sorry. We are in the 3rd largest city in the US. It's kind of a big deal. And we are a very urban campus. So we are right downtown in the middle of the city. We are not in a rural area or anything like that. So it's pretty exciting. It's very bustling and it's an amazing city to be a part of.
Awesome, thank you. So my name is Victoria Makritis. I am an Associate Director of Admission at Connecticut College, and I coordinate international admission at Connecticut College. Conn is a small liberal arts college. We're located in New London, Connecticut. You can see from the little map right there exactly where we are in the northeastern part of the United States. We're about 2.5 hours from New York City by train and 1.5 hours from Boston, Massachusetts. So we're located between and among a lot of the major cities in the Northeast. It's really easy to get to and from a lot of places all over the East Coast. So if you're interested in exploring the East Coast of the United States, New London can be a really great place to do it from. We keep things small at Conn. We have under 2,000 undergraduate students. We only have undergraduate students on our campus. So that number you see, that's the total number of students we have. Our students come from 47 different countries. So we like to have a really diverse international student population. We don't have the majority of our international students coming from one particular location. Our international students add an incredible diversity and cultural knowledge to our student body that's really important. Our classes are small as well. You can expect to be mostly in discussion-based seminar style classes while you're at Connecticut College. We don't have 300 or 200 person lecture halls. The expectation is really that you're participating in a meaningful way in the classroom, and that can be a really great way for you to explore your education in the liberal arts. The liberal arts are really all about studying broadly. So we have a lot of majors, minors, and pathways that you can choose from while you're at Conn. Our core curriculum is interdisciplinary and integrative. So we're going to challenge you to look at different issues from the lens of different subject areas. And we're going to challenge you to take all the things that you're doing outside of the classroom and apply them to the things that you're doing inside of the classroom and vice versa. And as a part of that, we have a 4-year career preparation plan. And we give students, we actually guarantee up to $3,000 of funding for our students to be able to complete a career-related activity. So that's a little bit about Connecticut College.
Hello again. My name is Danielle Diddy. I'm one of the Senior Assistant Directors of Admissions at Gettysburg College. I'm also a coordinator for international recruitment. So I work with all the international students that are applying to Gettysburg, as well as any U.S. citizens that are living outside of the United States. Gettysburg College is a highly selective college of the liberal arts and sciences. We're located in the world-famous town of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, so right on the star of the map. We are a small town, about 10,000 residents, but we do welcome over 3 million visitors to our town each year because of our world-famous location. So that brings a lot of vibrancy and diversity to our downtown area. We're about an hour from Baltimore, an hour and a half from Washington, D.C., and 45 minutes from the capital of Pennsylvania. From the capital of Pennsylvania, you can actually catch a train all the way to New York City, and we do have a shuttle that runs to Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and the capital of Pennsylvania daily. We have about 2,600 students on our campus from nearly 40 states and 40 countries. Our class structure size is very similar to Connecticut College. We have a 9-to-1 student-faculty ratio. An average class size is 17, so you're going to be in really small classes. We'll discuss class sizes a little later in this presentation. Study abroad is really popular at Gettysburg College. About 60% of our students study abroad for an entire semester. 80% of our students complete at least one internship. Research is really popular as well, with over 55% of our students completing research, and 98% of our students are either employed or attending graduate school within a year after graduation. There we go.
I'm Karen Moran from the University of New Haven, and the University of New Haven is located in the northeast corner of the United States. We're about an hour and a half from New York City by train and about 2.5 hours from Boston by train. We're also in a residential community, but we're about 5 miles from downtown New Haven, where you'll find a variety of restaurants, art galleries, concerts, and plays. So there's a lot going on. We're celebrating our 100th year from being founded by Yale University in 1920, and we've moved to our current location in 1960. We offer over 100 majors and 85 minors and certificate programs to choose from. We have colleges such as College of Health Science, Arts and Sciences, Business, Criminal Justice, and Forensic Science, and Engineering. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the programs in those colleges. Our Colleges of Arts and Sciences offers a variety of programs from interior design to psychology to the sciences. Our Communications Department features programs like film and television production, and our students intern in film studios such as Lionsgate or Disney, or on television shows like The Tonight Show or Saturday Night Live. Our music students can record on our own record label in our sound studios, or can do some internships at Blackbird Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Our environmental science and marine biology students enjoy our 5-acre marsh or explore the waters of Long Island Sound. So our School of Health Sciences prepares students for a variety of careers in the medical field. If students wish to go to medical school, we will help them to do their testing and guide them along the way, but also for students that aren't cut out for medical school, that we can suggest other careers to them as well. We have a health professions advising center that helps students along the way. Our Henry C. Lee College of Criminal Justice and Forensic Science is known worldwide for its significantly competent programs, and our faculty are from agencies such as the FBI, CIA, and state and local police and fire departments. Our Pompey College of Business is AACSB accredited. We have unique programs such as sports management and esports management, which offers students an opportunity to improve their gaming and also to train for careers within that field. Our Tagliatelle College of Engineering has been listed in U.S. News and World Report as some of the leading engineering programs in the United States. We offer dual degree programs where students can save up to a year completing both their master's and bachelor's degrees. Our students enjoy over 200 clubs and organizations, including NCAA Division II sports. We have over 95% of our students are in graduate school or are in jobs within 6 months of graduation. We're 11% international students, and our average class size is 20 students per class with a faculty-student ratio of 16:1. When you apply, you're going to be evaluated for a merit-based scholarship. And we encourage you to visit our website to get some more information about our dual degree programs or to take a virtual campus tour.
All right, so today we're really here to talk to you about understanding what type of options you have for studying in the United States and what type of institutions are going to be a right fit for you. There are over 4,000 accredited institutions in the United States where you can go to study for college, and that can be kind of an intimidating number. But the good thing about that is it means that there are several institutions that are going to be a perfect fit for you. So we're going to really talk about, what type of institutions there are in the United States, and again, just help you narrow that down. So the first question to kind of ask yourself is, where in the world do you want to study? And obviously you're here with us today because you're interested in studying in the United States. There are several reasons a student might want to study in the United States. They might have family living in the United States. They might want to really work on their English speaking skills, or maybe they want an education that is unavailable in their own country. And one of the first things you can do once you know you want to study in the United States is narrowing it down by region. The United States is a large country. We have a lot to offer. So we have the West Coast, which is kind of a more, relaxed vibe. We have the South, which is warmer climate. We have the East Coast and the Northeast. Karen, do you want to talk about why students might want to study in the Northeast?
Certainly. So there's a lot of good reasons to want to be in the Northeast part of the United States. First of all, one of the reasons is you get to experience the 4 seasons. You have summer, winter, spring, and fall. So if you want to ski, if you want to swim, if you want to look at beautiful flowers, you have access to all of that. Also, because we're close to a lot of cities. So students can go, like Danielle had mentioned, they can go all the way from Gettysburg College all the way up to New York City, to Washington, and all over by train, by bus, or by car. So you get to see a lot of cities. And there's also a lot of countryside. We have Vermont and New Hampshire, which has beautiful country. So you have a little bit of everything. One of the other real advantages about being in that corridor is there's so many corporations that have their headquarters there, that there are a lot of internship and job opportunities that our students get to take advantage of. So there's a lot of good reasons to want to be in the Northeast portion of the United States.
Thank you, Karen. And then once you know what type of region you want to study in, you have, the urban environment versus rural or more suburban environment. Natalie, do you want to talk about what a student's experience is like and why they might choose the Midwest, and also what the student experience is like in the middle of a city like Columbia College?
Of course. So the difference between, being on the East Coast to the Midwest is honestly a huge vibe. The Midwest just has a little bit of a slower vibe, a more forgiving vibe. In a way, the people tend to be just a little bit more accepting of amateurs and students. And I find that specifically with the city of Chicago in comparison to bigger cities like LA and New York, which are amazing cities that offer so many things. And I tend to see my students start out in Chicago and then go on to these bigger cities. I see it as kind of a stepping stone city. And it's amazing. It's a great place to be building a portfolio because there's just so much opportunity, but it's not totally oversaturated. It gives students and people with maybe less experience opportunity to gain experience, performing at these smaller clubs and venues and working with smaller businesses here in Chicago, whatever your field might be. Personally, I was looking at all these big cities. I went to Columbia. And Chicago was the one that made me feel the most accepted and the most inspired, because I felt like a little bit more like I could breathe a little bit more. There's this beautiful park. It's called the Lakefront, right all the way up the coast, and it's on Lake Michigan, which is one of the biggest lakes in the 5 Great Lakes in the U.S. It's stunning, and it's all here for the citizens of Chicago. So it's just, I'm partial to it. I love it. And Columbia specifically, it's located right in the heart of the city. And the great part of that is that you not only get to work with the stuff that we do on campus and the resources that we have at the college, but you also get to be a part of the culture of Chicago. You get to go out and get internships and get volunteer positions and even jobs or shows or whatever you're doing. You can do that off campus while building like an actual reputation as an artist in a city, because you're not just relying on the resources that we have on campus in our smaller community. We want you to extend to the city of Chicago. And there's just a lot of really amazing things to be inspired by, like the Art Institute of Chicago is across the street, which is one of the most famous art museums in the world. We have other museums in the area too, just the Field Museum and the Planetarium, the Aquarium. We have Navy Pier really close to us. We have all the theater district, which has like the Goodman Theater, Steppenwolf. These are all really famous locations. The Lyric Opera. All of this stuff is right at your fingertips, and you get to explore this while also within the safety of being at Columbia. You know, you're still a student, you're still taking classes, but you also get to have this double life where you go out at, after class and you become part of the city of Chicago. So that's my little spiel about why I love it here.
Thank you, Natalie. And the opposite of living right in the middle of a city would be living in a more rural or suburban environment. Vicki, do you want to talk about what a student's experience might look like studying in the suburbs?
Yeah, definitely. Connecticut College is certainly a little bit more off the beaten path, although the great thing about the suburbs is that you're never too far from a major city. I think that going to a school in a more suburban location is great because the institutions generally understand that you don't have that city to fall back on for entertainment and to go out and do things. So the school really puts on a lot of programming for its students and really does a lot in the way of activities and concerts and speakers and events so that their students are engaged socially and culturally on their campuses. Suburban campuses also tend to be more residential, so you get the benefit of living on campus, working on campus, and taking your classes. You know, like 90% of your time on a residential campus is going to be spent specifically with your peers, with your staff and faculty, learning and doing, which is really nice if that's the type of experience you're looking for. If you want to get to know all of the people in your grade, if you want to get to know your faculty and things like that, then a suburban campus, the way they function can really help towards that. It's not to say that that only happens on a suburban campus, but there are just some things about a campus that's a little bit smaller and a little bit more off the beaten path that lends itself towards that tight-knit community that's so important to us, because we are your community. You know, you don't, like I said, you don't have that city to fall back on. And that being said, you can't go out and get takeout at 2:00 in the morning. That's not an option at Connecticut College. I can guarantee you that. I used to live in New London, but there are a lot of really great things, and there's a lot of really cute sort of downtown areas and more suburban locations, so you can really get to know the area.
Thank you. So once you know kind of maybe where you want to study, and if you want to study in a more busy, bustling city or maybe in a quieter environment, the next question is to ask yourself, what type of institution do you want to study at? So in the United States, one of the great things about studying college in the United States is the diversity of different types of institutions. You've heard public versus private, I'm sure. Karen, do you want to briefly discuss the differences between a public and private institution?
Thank you, Danielle. Yes, I will. A public institution gets a lot of funding from the state where it's located. Therefore, students within that state usually get preferential pricing when it comes to tuition, and people that are from outside of the state or outside of the country may not get those same tuition rates. Public colleges tend to be larger in size, so they offer a lot more majors a lot of times, and they're usually very large. So you can have a campus with up to like 60,000 students. And that makes a difference on how you want to learn, okay? If you're the kind of person that wants to be in a big auditorium and learn from a lot of people in that way, that would be the kind of a situation which you might like. But our smaller private universities, it's more like you could be a big fish in a smaller pond. You will be known by your professors. They're going to know you, and you'll have a more personal experience, more conversational type classes, and things along that lines. But those are the big differences. Basically, in a public institution, like I said, it's a much larger institution normally.
Thank you, Karen. And you also have liberal arts colleges, and a lot of us here are liberal arts colleges, and there's a lot of misconceptions about what liberal arts colleges really means. Liberal arts colleges is you take a third of your classes around your major, so you do declare a major, you offer the sciences, humanities, social sciences. There's not just the arts at a liberal arts institution. So you pick your major. Then another third of your classes is essential curriculum. So this is taking a breadth of classes in all different programs. So you will be required to take some natural science classes, some humanities classes, some classes that are really going to build your critical thinking skills and yourself as a global citizen. And then you have another third of classes that is what's called the elective classes. And this is really the flexibility within a liberal arts education that allows you to take classes outside of your major. A lot of students will also use electives to double major. So at a liberal arts institution, you can major in history and biology, even though they might not be related at all, but they might be two subjects that you're really interested in. So this is a really popular type of education in the United States. So we just wanted to make sure that we did address what the liberal arts colleges mean. There's also the fine arts within the liberal arts. Natalie, do you want to talk about what that means?
Of course. So at Columbia specifically, we are a liberal arts college, but our focus is the creative arts and the fine arts. We are not a conservatory program, which we'll probably detail after this. But the difference is that we give you all of the resources of a conservatory program without the restriction, and also with a little bit of that liberal arts core education thrown in there for your transferable skills and a more well-rounded education, or we like to think so. So what I mean by that is you will start in your major day one, your freshman year. You will say you're an acting major. You will start in your acting classes your first semester here, but you will also take a few Columbia core classes, which are your liberal arts core. So this can be your math or your science or your humanities, maybe your social studies, anything like that. You can take a couple of those. And then we ask that you kind of just sprinkle those in throughout the 4 years that you're here. And we don't require you to take these at first, only these core classes for the first and second year. Like, honestly, there are a lot of colleges that are formatted like that. But at a liberal arts college with a creative focus, we want you to start in your major as well, because we want you to build a portfolio over the 4 years that you're here. So it is a little different. We do like to kind of mix our education into this really lovely putty all the way through, where you're using all of these skills the entire time that you're here. Because we do think that things like math and science actually do inform your art and can make you a better artist. So in addition to that, those core classes aren't necessarily just straight math, straight science, straight, English classes. They actually tend to reflect back on whatever major you're taking. So for me, I took science classes and I was in a forensic science class, but my final test wasn't a forensic science standardized test. It was actually to create a project that related back to my major using terms that I learned in my forensic science class. So I was a comedy writing major, and I wrote a script for a scientifically accurate Law and Order episode, which is the worst script I've ever written in my life. But it also forced me to use the knowledge I learned in the science class and apply it to my major, which I think is one of the best things about being at this type of college, is that combination of those different skills and those transferable skills, because we want you to be able to build things outside of your major so you can do whatever career you intend to do when you graduate. Yeah, I think that's my spiel on that.
Thank you. And then some institutions have really niche programs. This is a really specialized program, such as a conservatory program, which really focuses on music and mostly classical music. Gettysburg College does have a conservatory program on our campus. We are one of 3 institutions in the United States that does combine our conservatory in with our liberal arts curriculum. So again, if that's something you're looking for, make sure you're utilizing your EducationUSA advisors and looking up, on different websites and seeing what institutions have a niche program if that is what you're interested in studying. So the next thing we'll talk about is size, which in the beginning of this presentation, you heard all of us say, our average class size is this, our student to faculty ratio is this. So what does that mean? You have the choice between small, medium, and large class sizes. Here today, we are all smaller institutions, so you're gonna have smaller class sizes. A large class size could be anywhere from 100 plus students. They're often in a lecture style lecture hall where you're actually sitting with a bunch of other classmates and the teacher is up in the very front and they're really lecturing to you. One benefit of a large institution is more broader and flexible types of classes that you can take. You often have a larger diversity or options of the classes that you can take, whereas smaller institutions, you might have a smaller types of, or a less variance of what type of classes you can choose from. That goes the same with larger institutions. Often there is more majors and minors offered at larger institutions. So if you're interested in studying a more specialized program such as zoology or animal science, that might be something that you look for a larger institution. But like I said, we're all smaller institutions, so we can talk better about what it means to be in a small classroom environment. Vicki, did you want to talk about what that looks like for a student to be studying in a smaller classroom?
Absolutely. I think that one of the great things about a small college is, the small class sizes like we're talking about earlier. You can't hide in the back of a class, not having done the reading, not having done the homework. There's an expectation of a depth of knowledge in the coursework in a small classroom that you just can't get in a larger one. So for a small school, it's not just the small class sizes, it's also the relationships that you form. So when we talk about student faculty ratio, if you have a smaller number versus a huge number, that can really signal to you an access to faculty that you might not have at a larger institution. A small school also emphasizes relationships within your peer group. So, by the time you leave a small school, good or bad, you'll probably know everyone you go to college with. I attended a larger university, and one of the things I always said was I never have to see anybody that I don't want to see. On the flip side, at a small college, you kind of get to know everyone, which can be a really good thing if that's what you're looking for. It also helps you form relationships for after school as well. So alumni relationships, relationships with your fellow students' parents who might be able to know somebody who wants to hire you after you graduate. And I think that those are some of the really good perks of going to a smaller institution.
Great, thank you. And then of course you want to make sure that whatever institutions you're looking at has the programs that you're interested in. We will talk about some specific search engines a little later that will help you, search by the criteria, including what programs you're looking for that can help you narrow down institutions. Sometimes you might not know at 17 or 18 what you want to study. I know that I definitely had no idea what I wanted to study when I was looking at colleges. So some institutions actually allow students to come in undecided. And what that really means is that you apply directly to the college, and then you have usually up to 2 years to explore all the different programs you might be interested in before you declare your major. One of the benefits of this is, if you're interested in both, say, biology and business, you have the time to take those classes and maybe do some job shadowing opportunities to see, is this something I can imagine myself doing for the rest of my life? And often, students will also change their major within the first year. Those stats are really high. So, if you're not sure what you want to do, number one, look at institutions that offer the programs you're interested in, but also ask admission representatives what options there are for you if you are not sure, and if you can apply undecided, or how easy is it to change your major. Another thing to ask is undergraduate research. That's important when you're looking at graduate programs or, entry-level jobs. If you're interested in a STEM subject, asking what type of undergraduate research is available at institutions. I always recommend students talk directly to current students and see how easy it was for them to find research opportunities. That's one thing that in the United States, a lot of our institutions are really proud of. And a lot of our institutions will not only, give students credits for research, but also, paid positions for research. And a lot of our institutions will fund students to travel and present their research nationally. So sometimes we get the question, you're not a big public name in our home country, so how can I set myself apart after I graduate and I'm looking for that job or I'm applying to graduate school? Well, these experiences is how you can really set yourself apart. So asking those questions again to current students or admission representatives. And then we also, within this group, you have some colleges, you have some universities, and the biggest difference between colleges and universities, we all offer bachelor degree programs, is that often universities will also offer master's or doctorate degree programs as well. So Karen, you offer master's programs. Do you want to talk about what it means to offer not only undergraduate programs, but also graduate programs on your campus?
Thank you, Danielle. So yes, that is a big distinction between some of the colleges and the universities. And I will preface that by saying some students prefer to do undergraduate work at one school and graduate school at another school to get a variety of point of views and to vary their education. But there is a lot to be said about doing both your undergrad and grad work together. For example, Danielle talked a little bit about research opportunities. Some of our students start off doing research with professors while they're in the undergraduate program, and they have built relationships, so they want to continue that while they do their graduate studies. So that's a really good way to continue research that you've done. And one of the big advantages that we have in having both grad and undergrad programs is students can do dual degree programs. But if you start off right from the beginning knowing, look, I know what I want to do for my undergrad and I know what I want to do for my graduate program, you can work with your school counselors to figure out programs where you can start working actually on your master's degree while you're still achieving your bachelor's. They will make your curriculum so that you can actually eliminate 1 year of study sometimes to achieve both degrees. So you might be able to do your undergrad and graduate in 4 or 5 years, which saves tuition, it saves your time, and it gets you into the career that you choose earlier. So there's a lot of good reasons. And like I said, getting to know the faculty is really good. Being able to expose yourself to what the majors are and just to learn more about what the graduate majors will be like is another advantage of having both together.
Thank you. And then we also wanted to leave time to make sure that you understand the financial options and making sure that you can find a financial fit in the United States, because financial fit is important. You have to make sure that you're able to afford whatever institution you're going to. In the United States, on an F1 student visa, our international students are allowed to work up to 20 hours a week during the class structure. So when you're taking classes, fall and spring semester, you're allowed to work 20 hours a week on campus. And then over the summer, when you're not taking classes, you can work up to 40 hours a week. So definitely location can also impact affordability. Sometimes the cities can be a little more expensive than rural places. Asking questions like, does your institution guarantee housing for all 4 years, so you know if you'll be paying for student housing on campus or if you'll be required to look for a place to rent off campus. These are all things to take into consideration. I'm sure you've also heard of scholarships and financial aid, and all of us here offer different types of scholarship and financial aid packages. Some types of scholarship is merit scholarship. Some institutions offer talent-based scholarships. Natalie, do you want to talk about what it is that a merit scholarship versus talent-based scholarship is and what Columbia College offers?
Of course. So merit scholarship is based on your general application or maybe just your academics, depending on the school that you're going to. At Columbia specifically, we consider everything that you send us as part of your merit scholarship outside of the portfolio. So we're talking your transcripts, your high school grades, we're talking any writing samples you send us, any letters of recommendation that maybe you send us. And then I mentioned we were test optional, so we don't need to see SAT or ACT, but some students want to show us those. So that can also be a part of it as well if you choose to show that. So based on what we see there, we will award merit or academic scholarship. On the flip side, we also have talent scholarship, and every school, most schools that are like liberal arts or creative arts focused might have something like this, and they each have their own individual requirements. So it's really important that you check in with the specific school that you're applying to see what their requirements are. For Columbia specifically, we have a portfolio or digital audition option for all of our majors. Some majors do require it for entrance to the program, and they will say that on the application as well. And some majors don't require it, but we will use it for scholarship. So if you submit a portfolio or digital audition based on the requirements that we have on our website, based on the major that you're applying to, because you have to submit a portfolio that matches the major, before our deadline of January 15th, you'll be considered for our talent scholarship, which for Columbia is up to $5,000 per year. And then our merit scholarship is up to $8,000 per year. So the maximum scholarship that we offer to international students is $13,000 per year.
Thank you. And then Karen, in addition to merit and talent scholarships, you also offer athletic scholarships. So do you want to talk about the different types of scholarships offered at the University of New Haven?
Certainly. So we have merit, like you said. We also do portfolio. We also have a few small ones like honors and marching band. But one of the larger ones that we offer, but they're very few, is our sports scholarship. Because we're NCAA Division II sports, we do offer sports scholarships. So and that they're very rare. You have to be very good at your sport. But after you get your merit-based scholarship calculated, and then you get your sports scholarship, some students actually can get a full ride so that their tuition is 100% paid. But as I said, it's very limited. I can only think of like 2 students last year that happened to that were international students. So that's not something that's going to be for most students, but it does happen.
Thank you so much. And then there's a few institutions in the United States that also offer need-based financial aid to international students. Vicki, do you want to talk about what this looks like and specifically at Connecticut College?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Connecticut College, and I know at Gettysburg College, we meet 100% of demonstrated need. And what that means is we require you to submit documentation. For Connecticut College, it's the CSS profile and a certificate of finance. At Gettysburg, I know you all require the International Student Financial Aid application. I'm an expert now. And we crunch the numbers and we come up with what, based off of the data you give us, hopefully good data, we come up with an expected family contribution. And we are committed to meeting, if you are admitted, 100% of the gap between your expected family contribution and our total cost of attendance. And that total cost of attendance is room and board, tuition, fees, miscellaneous expenses. At least for us, the only expectation, if you are a full need student and we admit you, our expectation is that you would at least pay for your plane ticket to campus. And this is funding generally for our college that you don't have to pay back. So it's given in the form of grants and scholarships. So grants are money that you are given for us, because you demonstrate financial need. We want to admit you, so we want to make it financially feasible for you to be able to attend our institution. And that's really the crux of what need-based financial aid is. It's money that we like you a lot. We want to admit you. We want to make it an affordable experience for you. And that's what need-based financial aid is all about.
So much. So yes, as Vicki said, Gettysburg College also offers need-based financial aid in addition to merit scholarships to our international students. So now that we hopefully have got you thinking about what you're interested in and what type of institution best fits your interests, how do you narrow down your choices? There are a lot of options. Education USA, we will always, always, always recommend Education USA. They are great resources to students across the entire world. They are experts in studying in the United States. There's also some independent websites that are really helpful. College Board is one that I always talk about. You can go on their website and kind of search by region, by states, by the size of institution you're looking at, what type of program you're looking for. You can even put in your SAT score if you took the SAT. Please note that all of us with you here today are test score optional institutions, so you're not required to submit SAT or ACT to any of our institutions. You can also utilize search engines if say you want to study business in California. You can type that into Google, so, great business schools in California, refer to college websites and social media, all of our Instagram accounts. You can kind of see what it is to live the life of a student at each of our institutions and our college websites. If you click on the program you're interested in, you can actually get to read more about the faculty members and see what type of classes you would be taking for those different programs. Again, utilizing Education USA, attending education fairs like you are today, getting to hear from other institutions in the United States and, getting tips from admission counselors themselves, scheduling more virtual visits. All of us are offering a ton of different types of virtual visits, from current student panels to interviews to institutional information sessions. So making sure that you're taking advantage of those opportunities, and then contacting us. We really miss traveling and seeing everybody in person. So, I always get excited when I get an email from a student, whether it's studying in the United States or about the application to Gettysburg College or a really specific question about program at Gettysburg College. But that's what we're here for. We're here to help you through this process and help you find your perfect fit for 4 years. That's going to be a really influential time. So that kind of wraps up our presentation. I think our next slide shows our contact information. So if you have any questions, again, about studying in the United States or each of our institutions, we're happy to hear from you. And then if you have any questions, now's the time to type those into the chat, and we are happy to answer any questions that you might have for us today. Okay, we're getting some questions. All right. Do all institutions have dorms? So that's a great question. Some institutions in the United States, will guarantee housing for just the first year. And then after that, you might not be guaranteed housing. You might have to find an apartment to rent off campus. Somehow colleges will guarantee housing for all 4 years. I know that Gettysburg College, for instance, guarantees housing for all 4 years. Did everybody kind of want to go around and say the different types of structures at your institution? Natalie, you're next to me on my screen, so I'm going to call on you next.
Yeah, of course. We are also the same. We have multiple different residence halls, and you are allowed to live on campus all 4 years. We will find a place for you. And some students choose not to. About 2 years in, you'll probably be like, I found some friends. I might want to live on my own in the city. But if you want to stick to the housing, you absolutely can.
At Connecticut College, you are not only allowed to live on campus all 4 years, you are required to live on campus all 4 years. So something like 98% of our students live on campus. As you move through your career at Con, the housing becomes more adult, right? So you have a roommate in your first year. In your sophomore year, you can usually have a single, and then in your senior year, we have apartment style housing. So we try to grow the housing with you as you move through. But yeah, we have a 4-year residency requirement, which I think is great for a residential campus if that's our goal. You know what I mean? We want to foster that sense of community.
So at the University of New Haven, we do guarantee housing for all 4 years, but we don't require it. About 90% of our first year students do live on campus, and we have a variety of styles of housing that you can choose from as well. And we also offer apartment style living for our graduate students. So we have both. So, you know, but you're not forced to live on campus. It's certainly your decision.
Yeah, I would say most institutions in the United States have some type of dorms on their campus, and usually first-year students are guaranteed housing. That will change from institution to institution after your first year if you can be guaranteed housing or not. Yeah, another
Danielle,
question.
can I add something?
Yes.
The only schools that may not is if students want to start their first 2 years at a community college, normally they would not have dormitories, but the full colleges normally do have some kind of dormitories.
That's a great point. We have a question here about colleges that offer full scholarships for athletics. Karen, University of New Haven is the only one here that offers sports scholarships. So do you want to briefly talk about what you talked about earlier in case it was missed by some students?
Certainly. So we do offer, combined with a merit scholarship, you can have a full scholarship if you're an athlete. However, they are very, very limited. I think last year I had 2 students that got full scholarship for athletics, but you know, you have to be the very best of the best. You have to be recommended by your coaches. Our coaches need to be interested in you. So it's not something that most students are going to get, but we do have a very limited opportunity for full scholarships for athletes.
Thank you. And in the United States, you have Division I, Division II, and Division III schools for sports. Division I and Division II will offer athletic scholarships, while Division III does not. Here's a question. How hard is it to find a job on campus? Does anybody want to take that?
I can. I think it really depends on the campus. I think especially for international students, it's a really important question to ask. I know that at Con, at least when it comes to finding employment on campus for international students, we really try to prioritize international students knowing that that's the only place that they can work when they're in the United States is on our physical campus. So I think that it's an important question to ask everywhere you're applying and make sure that you will be supported by, you know, your dean of international students, dean of first, whomever is in your corner, making sure that you're able to be supported in that search for campus employment. But I know at Con, and I know at the institutions that are here today that we all offer campus employment for our students.
Yeah, and something I'd add to that is that's one of the benefits of being at a smaller institution where there is more resources per student. I know this was huge during the pandemic when a lot of jobs were kind of, you know, the cafeterias were closing on campus, so students that might have, you know, worked in the cafeterias no longer had jobs, or libraries were closed, so students that had libraries no longer had jobs. I know at Gettysburg College, there was a few instances where a few of our international students were on campus but didn't have jobs, so we created virtual jobs for these students. So that, again, is one of the benefits of a small institution where you do have the resources to kind of take care of you during your time in the United States. Marina is asking what options there are for short-term programs at your institutions. So I think we can each go around and address this. Vicki, you're unmuted. Did you want to start?
Yeah, of course. We don't have any short-term programs. So if you're looking for a summer program, a certificate program, or anything like that, we only offer 4-year bachelor's degrees.
Erin?
So what I can say is if you want to be an F1 student and come on a student visa, you need to be in a degree program. So we do have a few associate degree programs, very few, but there are a couple that you can inquire about. But in all of our institutions, if you want an F1 visa, you need to be in a degree program.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that as well. We do have very few opportunities to do a non-degree program if you just wanted to take a class once every couple of semesters or whatnot, but that's very hard to do as an international student who needs a student visa, and that student visa requires you to be full-time. So that, unfortunately, that would basically, I can't talk. Basically, we do not have short-term programs. All of it's based in bachelor degrees.
Yeah, and that's the same for Gettysburg College as well. I think all of us have amazing opportunities to take advantage of if you are a student over the summer. So there's a lot of different summer opportunities, whether it's research programs or community service or short-term study abroad programs. But as far as coming for just that short-term program, it's not really popular, at least at four-year institutions. And Ray is asking about full scholarship for a PhD program. Karen, did you want to take that?
Yeah, I can take that one. So we just in our engineering school just began offering PhD programs. So I know a little bit about it. We do not have mechatronics or robotics for a major at this point in time. However, what I can tell you is if you go ahead and apply to one of the schools for a PhD program, you'd be interested in a fellowship. So in a fellowship, you might have a teaching opportunity or something of that nature that will pay give you a full scholarship and maybe even pay you for your living expenses. But go ahead and look at different universities that offer the PhD program that you're looking for and see what their opportunities are for fellowships or any other type of research scholarships. See what you can find that way.
Great, thank you. All right, I think that wraps up all our questions. Again, you have our contact information, so if you think of anything you wanted to ask us, please feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to hear from you.
Thank you all for your time. Thanks for joining us today.
And a huge thank you to Victoria for organizing this presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, girls. It was amazing. So everyone, I will upload this recording to our YouTube channel. And if you have further questions, then you can see their emails on the end of the presentation and get in touch with them. So thank you, everyone. I guess this is a wrap up.
Thank you.
Guys. Bye. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.